Everybody, this is Dalton Burkhardt, and this is my Module 16 case study, A Good Teacher Turns Bad. Quick overview is Miss Wilson is a principal who has to handle matters regarding a teacher that's verbally abusive toward her students. A parent wants his daughter removed from class, but during that meeting, in that conference, Miss Horton has an outburst that leads Miss Wilson, who is the principal, wanting explanations, and that's where the case study cuts off. Problem identification and analysis. What do we know? We know Miss Horton's attitude has changed ever since she had a divorce from her husband. She's left alone with two teenage daughters, and that has had an impact on her attitude and is changed. Multiple parents have been notifying the principal about the abusive behavior, uh, but when the principal is observing the class, no abusive behavior is recorded or observed. Four parents called the Board of Education about the teacher's behavior. A conference was set up between a particular parent, the principal, and the teacher in regards to removal of a student. Miss Horton has an outburst during that meeting. What I need to know. What's Miss Horton's explanation for the outburst? Is it more than just the divorce, and why is she mentally not there? What are the policies and procedures? What is it up to me as a building leader, and what do I have to do and the steps required to ensure that the students are safe, and in the long run, if we have to, it's the last resort, terminate the teacher. Is Miss Horton seeking help, and why has her attitude changed? We know that a divorce is a big issue, but why is she becoming verbally abusive to her students and fellow staff? And identifying the problem. Issues have been brought up about Miss Horton being verbally abusive to her students. This was not an issue until she got the divorce from her husband, and Miss Horton's attitude has changed from being more involved. She was the teacher of the year, but now she is abusive and kind of snotty toward her fellow staff. Proposed plan of action with strategies for implementation. As the building leader, I will first listen to Miss Horton's explanations of her outburst during the meeting. Second, ask about the policies and procedures. I'll have to discuss that with either the assistant principal or the superintendent, and just to figure out what steps I need to take. I would remove Julie from the class. I feel that her being in there could be a trigger because of her father's attendance during the conference. I would conduct Fourth, I would conduct unannounced walkthroughs. That way the teacher doesn't know I'm coming through, and that way I could see how the teacher is really acting in the environment. Fifth, I will analyze the data that I took and the trends from the observations and just look for progressive patterns and what other analyses I can discover. I would require, on the sixth step, mandatory professional develop for Miss Hopkins. I feel that she needs to find a good place for her mind and what steps she needs to take to make sure the conscious discipline and empathy is directed toward the students, and provide counseling and other support for Miss Hopkins just to ensure that she's stable and she has somebody to talk to that can help her with her issues or concerns that she has. Category 3, resolve the issues based on promoting the success for all students. What is the best for students? I believe that ensuring a safe learning environment is the best source for having success for all students. Student and parents' rights need to be discussed, especially in concerns like this and just verbal abuse cases. The parents need to know what their rights are, along with the students. Conduct walkthroughs focusing on the student engagement. I feel if the students are a little more apprehensive and laid back, there's might be something going on, and I could pull that student to the side and discuss issues with that student. And obviously having meetings with the parents and staff. Debrief the problem by reflecting. Thinking, I was thinking, how can we help Miss Horton emotionally? How can we resolve the issue without job termination? The building leader should observe student behaviors more in the classroom, and why the behavior change from Miss Horton was not intervened earlier. Obviously, they've seen patterns growing. Why wasn't anything said to her, or why wasn't anything brought up to administration? feeling. I felt sad for the students who were verbally abused. No students deserve that, and I feel mad that the building leaders were unable to manage Ms. Horton's attitudes early on so that her verbal abuse did not affect student success. Also, I was feeling a little confused on why other staff members did not reach out to Miss Horton in her time of need. They knew she was going through a divorce. Why weren't they there to lend a helping hand? And finally, valuing. I was valuing the support of teaching staff in my own building. I was valuing the concerns of the parents in the case study. Obviously, their students' success and performance is of a high priority for them, and their concerns were brought up to the principal. I felt Miss Wilson held herself in a very professional manner, and that she did what she needed to do to develop strategies to end this problem. And obviously, I was valuing student success. Pretty much this whole case study was directed toward how she was treating the students. We know that Miss Wilson has student success on her mind, and also the parents want the student success. Some of the parents feel that pulling their students out of that classroom is the best result, and sometimes I agree with them. Category 4, unresolved issues. One is Ms. Hopkins seeking help? If the abuse continues, what is the policy for termination and the due process? Like I said, that needs to be the last step. If she doesn't get better, then obviously we have to look for the policies on termination. Will Ms. Hopkins attend professional development opportunities? I can give her all the opportunities to professionally develop and talk about cognitive development and empathy, but if she doesn't attend it, it's not gonna be beneficial for her. Other parents' concerns, obviously there's more than one parent in the class. What are their concerns directed toward the teacher, and what are they looking to seek out of the change? And will Miss Hopkins change her mind on the piloting of the new reading program and working with other staffs? It was mentioned earlier in the case study that the school is piloting a new reading program, and she was very apprehensive about it and didn't want to change, while other staff members were okay with it, and she kind of had a little attitude when discussed about it. Category 5, reflect on Standard 2. Standard 2 is the educational leader promotes the academic success and personal well-being of every student by enhancing instructional capacity. So as the building leader, how did I promote the academic success of every student while addressing the issues? First, I ensured student success by having a learning environment where all the students feel safe. I will provide supportive resources for physical and psychological needs to students and staff. And finally, I would ensure the teacher is providing the students with adequate learning. As the instructional leader, I promoted the personal well-being of every student while addressing the issue by providing a safe environment free from verbal abuse, focusing on trauma sensitivity, provide staff and professional development on conscious discipline, and removal of teacher if the problem continues. Component 3, as the instructional leader, I emphasize instructional capacity by providing staff with professional development opportunities, continuous classroom evaluations, observations, and walkthroughs, and that's just to collect as much data as I can to ensure that the students are learning and reaching their goals, as well as the building goals. Provide the staff with resources to promote mind and body wellness, and finally provide classroom support, either that be from uh, continued management in it, like myself as a building leader doing multiple evaluations, or even just pair support. That extra support in the classroom can completely change how someone's behavior is, instructional capacity, and just how everybody is learning. But I feel with my steps, we are able to develop at least a conclusion to help Miss Hopkins. And if she's willing to put in the effort to change, I feel that we were able to keep her job. She would just have to have a lot of evaluations and constant observations, but eventually she can grow out of that, and that's once again building our trust and the students' trust. If she's unable to meet the needs of the students and she continues to be verbally abusive, unfortunately, we will have to terminate her and then follow up with the policies and due process of that. That was my case study. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to watching and evaluating everybody else's. Thank you.